Most people think house flipping is the fastest way to get rich in real estate. Buy ugly, fix fast, sell high, pocket the profit. That story has sold more courses, TV shows, and social media dreams than almost any other real estate strategy. But here's the reality very few people talk about. House flipping is one of the riskiest real estate businesses you can run. And right now, it's one of the hardest environments in decades to do it profitably. Today, we're breaking down why it's a tough time for house flippers, what's changed in the market, why margins are getting crushed, and why even experienced operators are being forced to adapt or walk away. This isn't hype. This is economics, risk, and math. Let's start with the numbers. House flipping activity has declined sharply. In 2024, just under 300,000 homes were flipped nationwide. That's down nearly 8% from the year before, and more than 30% lower than the peak in 2022. Fewer flips aren't happening because people suddenly stopped liking money. They're happening because the risk-adjusted returns have deteriorated. Flipping works when three conditions exist at the same time. You need discounted inventory, you need cheap capital, and you need rising or at least stable resale prices. Today, all three are under pressure. First, let's talk about invention. The homes flippers want are distressed properties, foreclosures, neglected houses, estate sales, forced sellers. But the U.S. housing market is undersupplied by millions of units. Many homeowners are locked into ultra-low mortgage rates and refuse to sell. That keeps supply tight and prices elevated. When prices stay high, the margin for flippers shrinks before the project even begins. Even though foreclosure filings have increased modestly, the pipeline is still thin relative to demand. Banks are slower to foreclose. Homeowners have more equity than in prior cycles. And distressed inventory gets bid up quickly by investors, institutions, and cash buyers. That competition pushes acquisition prices higher and kills margin. Next, let's talk about financing. Flippers rarely use traditional mortgages. They rely on short-term, high-interest loans, hard money, bridge loans, private lenders. Even with recent interest rate cuts, borrowing costs remain elevated. A 6 to 12-month loan at double-digit interest eats directly into profit. Every extra week a project drags on compounds interest expense and holding costs. And lenders have tightened standards. Loan-to-value ratios are lower. Underwriting is stricter. Draw schedules are slower. That means flippers must bring more cash to the table and absorb more risk themselves. Now add rising renovation costs. Materials cost more. Labor costs more. Skilled contractors are harder to find. Permits take longer. Insurance for renovation projects is more expensive. Even basic repairs cost significantly more than they did just a few years ago. Every line item in the budget has inflated, except resale prices in many markets. This is where most flips fail. The margin disappears not because one thing went wrong, but because everything got a little worse at the same time. Acquisition price slightly higher. Renovation slightly over budget. Timeline slightly longer. Interest slightly higher. Resale slightly weaker. Individually manageable. Collectively fatal. Now let's talk about hidden risk, the stuff spreadsheets lie about. Flipping assumes certainty. It assumes the repair scope is accurate. It assumes no major surprises behind the walls. It assumes permits won't stall. It assumes buyers will pay the projected price. It assumes the market won't shift during the renovation window. But real estate doesn't work that way. Behind every wall could be outdated wiring. Every foundation could have cracks. Every roof could be closer to failure than expected. Every sewer line could collapse. These issues don't just cost money, they cost time. And time is the enemy of flipping. The longer you hold a flip, the more you pay in interest, taxes, insurance, utilities, and opportunity cost. What looked like a profitable deal at a 12-week timeline can turn into a loss at 24 weeks. Now layer in market risk. A flip is a leveraged bet on short-term price stability. You are gambling that buyers will still pay top dollar when you finish. But if rates rise, demand cools, or comparable sales reset lower, your exit evaporates. You can't refinance easily. You can't ride out the cycle. You're exposed. That's why flipping is not investing, it's operating. It's a business that requires precision, speed, and constant risk management. Another major challenge today is competition. Flippers aren't just competing with each other, they're competing with institutional buyers, foreign capital, private equity-backed landlords, and all-cash investors. These players accept lower margins, longer holds, or different exit strategies. They can afford to overpay where small operators cannot. This competition compresses returns even further. Now let's talk about insurance, a silent killer of flip margins. Property insurance, builder's risk, and liability premiums have exploded. Carriers are pulling out of high-risk markets. Deductibles are higher. Coverage is more restrictive. One claim can destroy profitability or delay resale. Flippers also face higher transaction costs. Realtor commissions remain substantial. Transfer taxes, staging, concessions, and buyer incentives eat into the final check. Every percent matters when margins are thin. This is why flipping activity has fallen. Not because flipping doesn't work, but because it works only under very specific conditions, and those conditions are harder to find today. Now let's talk about why flipping still attracts people. The upside is seductive. The idea of turning a distressed house into a beautiful property and walking away with a large check in a few months is powerful. And yes, when everything goes right, flipping can generate strong returns. But those returns come from risk, not magic. Experienced operators understand this. That's why many have adapted their strategies. Instead of heavy renovations, they target lighter cosmetic rehabs. Instead of full gut jobs, they focus on paint, flooring, signatures, kitchens, and bathrooms. Instead of chasing maximum resale price, they prioritize speed and certainty. Time is more valuable than perfection. Some have diversified exit strategies. Instead of relying solely on retail buyers, they sell contracts, assign deals, or wholesale properties to other investors. This reduces exposure and capital at risk. Others keep the option to convert a flip into a rental if the market turns. That flexibility can save a deal, but only if the numbers support it. Not every flip pencils as a rental, especially at today's prices and rates. This is the key lesson. Flipping requires adaptability. Rigid operators break. Flexible operators survive. Now let's talk about why most people should not flip houses. Flipping requires capital, experience, contractor relationships, market knowledge, emotional discipline, and the ability to absorb losses. One bad flip can erase profits from several good ones. And unlike rentals, flips don't compound. You start over every time. There is no cash flow, no depreciation, no long-term equity, just transactional profit, taxed at ordinary income rates in many cases. Compare that to long-term investing. Rentals benefit from leverage, appreciation, tax advantages, amortization, and time. Flips benefit from speed, and speed magnifies mistakes. This is why flippers say you need a strong stomach. The stress is real, the uncertainty is constant, and the margin for error is small. Now let's zoom out. The decline in flipping isn't a crisis, it's a normalization. The easy money era distorted risk perception. Cheap debt, rising prices, and abundant inventory made flipping look easy. That environment is gone. What remains is the true version of flipping: high skill, high risk, high discipline real estate entrepreneurship. For investors watching from the sidelines, the lesson is clear. Don't confuse flipping success stories with repeatable investing strategies. Don't assume appreciation will bail you out. Don't underestimate carrying costs. And don't treat flipping like passive income. It is anything but. For those still interested in flipping, the path forward is narrow but clear. Buy at deep discounts, control costs ruthlessly, shorten timelines, maintain multiple exit strategies, underwrite conservatively, and assume something will go wrong, because it will. And for everyone else, understand this. The fact that flipping is harder today doesn't mean real estate is broken. It means speculation is being punished. Long-term ownership, cash flow, and disciplined investing are being rewarded. That's how markets cleanse excess. And that's how real wealth is built. Not through get-rich-quick strategies, but through patience, structure, and risk management. Follow the finance chart for more real estate reality checks, investor strategy breakdowns, and honest analysis of what works and what doesn't in today's market.